won. So how is Reddick a candidate for one of the most prestigious jobs in sports? 2 months ago, Reddick started hosting a podcast with LeBron James called Mind the Game. It's a chat where Reddick and LeBron talk about the X's and O's of basketball. This podcast and Reddick's association with LeBron is the only reason Reddick's name is connected to the Lakers coaching search. Stay tuned on this situation. No debates, no speculation, just the info you need. That's your KBLA Sports Minute. I'm Ray Richardson. More news, opinions, and conversation when we come forward on KBLA Talk 1580.
Hi, it's Tavis Smiley. First, thank you for your support of KBLA Talk 1580. We deeply appreciate you. So, I get asked all the time, Tavis, when are you going to bring back that State of the Black Union symposium you used to do? You know the one where you had all those black intellectuals on stage every year and everybody watched all day live on C-SPAN? Yeah, I know the one.
Let's bring them back.
Well, I am pleased to tell you that if you go to KBLA1580.com right now, you can sign up to be in the audience here in Los Angeles when we go back live on C-SPAN with a stage full of black thinkers and influencers for a historic conversation. America has never seen a stage full of black folk talking about the urgency of now. Climate justice, climate equity, climate resilience. It's going down Tuesday, June 18th, 4 to 7 p.m. at the California Science Center in Exposition Park. Admission is free, but you must register at KBLA1580.com. Once we reach capacity, you'll have to watch us on C-SPAN. But if you want to be in the room when we go live from Los Angeles, Tuesday, June 18th, head to KBLA1580.com right now to reserve your seat. Caring about the climate, caring about the community. With KBLA Talk 1580, we've got your black.
I believe up there. Hey, hey, hey!
I'm Tavis Smiley, and I am thrilled to have you hanging out with us today. I've been looking forward to this hour. I consider it a signal honor that over the course of my career, I've now lost count of how many conversations I've had publicly. I say nothing about private conversations, but I've had the honor of having so many public conversations on radio and television over my career with Walter Mosley, and I'm honored to be a part of another one of these public dialogues. I was just reading a bunch of notes from some friends of mine who heard that Walter was coming on today, and some of them were telling me how thrilled they were to see him recently at the L.A. Times Festival of Books, where they saw Walter and got their book signed, so they're excited. And listening right now, you know who you are, to hear Walter Mosley once again on this program. He is a perennial New York Times bestselling author. He is back to talk about his latest Easy Rawlins novel, the 16th installment of Mosley's celebrated series. I said earlier on today's program that I about fell out of my chair when the book came across my desk some time ago in preparation for today's conversation, realizing it was number 16 in this Easy Rawlins series. This one's called Farewell, Amethystine. Okay, I practiced this for 3 days, Walter, and still screwed it up. All right, so pronounce this name for me again. I just talked to you about this, and I screwed it up already.
The title is Farewell, Amethystine.
Amethystine. And
Amethystine. Yes.
Yeah, and I practiced that for 3 days. I told Walter, I talked to him on the phone. I said it's easy to read it, you get used to saying it, but when you have to say it out loud in a radio conversation, Amethystine. So it's called Farewell, Amethystine. In this book, Ezekiel, Easy Rawlins tackles a multi-layered missing persons case, which features a character named Kurt, who is a forensic accountant who got mixed up with mobsters running a crooked casino. And at the request of Kurt's ex-wife, Amethystine, Easy has agreed to help track him down. There in a nutshell is what the text is all about. And once again, delighted to have Walter Mosley on this program. For starters, Walter, how are you, my friend?
I'm pretty good. I'm pretty happy. Things are going on. The writer's strike was really interesting for me because, it was good for us to strike and make sure that the powers that be don't mistreat their writers. Mm-hmm. But at the same time, it was great for me because I got all this time to write books. Mm-hmm. I think I wrote, honestly, 4 books in that time period.
Wow.
I just concentrated. I just sat down and started doing it. Farewell, Amethystine was the first of those. Yeah.
Let me ask you a broad question here, somewhat philosophical, but you'll take my point. What is your view in real time of the way that our society, not just Hollywood, you mentioned the strike, and obviously we all covered that and talked about it, but I'm talking broadly now, the American people. What is your view, your sentiment about the way in this American moment we value or devalue writers? I mean, writers, the written word. Again, I'm asking a broad question to give you all the canvas you need to paint, but since you went there, I want to follow you. Mm-hmm. So just tackle that for me for starters.
Well, I think that most people are today get their information electronically, mm-hmm. and also kind of pasteurized electronically. It's not like they're just reading words on a screen. It's that there's people make music, people make film, people have animation, people have artificial intelligence. There's all these things that present. And so that feels like the best thing, the most modern thing, so therefore the most valuable thing. Mm-hmm. But really, writing is the only way we understand anything. There's nothing we do that doesn't start with writing. If you buy some kind of mechanical tool, there's something written there to tell you how to use that mechanical tool. People tell if there's a television show you like, somebody wrote that television show before it happened. If you need to actually think about what you're thinking, reading is the best way to go about trying to figure out what a problem is. When you said philosophical in the beginning, it's so important. Mm. But people don't understand it, and I realize that. I mean, I understand why people don't, because they say, well, I can see that on television. And you say, well, you can, but you can't think about it on television. You can only see it there.
Yeah. Just getting started here. When we come forward, I want to ask Walter how one. You heard him mention he wrote 4 books during the pandemic. This one was the first. Farewell, Amethystine was the first one that he wrote during that period where there was a writer's strike and the pandemic and all this stuff. Writer's strike, of course, came after the pandemic, but all that time allowed Walter to push out 4 different books. But I am curious as to how one continues to be dedicated to one's craft as a writer when there's evidence, debatable perhaps, we'll get Walter's take on it, evidence that suggests that we don't love to read the way we used to. You're writing for a society that gets its news, as Walter said, from its phone. We like it in sound bites. We like it in small doses, just a handful of characters, and yet you keep writing books, like real novels in a world where people seem less inclined, less interested to read. Again, that could be debatable. We'll talk about that. Walter's fans, as I said earlier, are checking in like crazy all on social media. We'll ask Walter about this. Tavis, I heard that Mosley and Spielberg have a TV series in development. That's what I heard, that Mosley and Spielberg have a TV series in development. You just heard Walter talk about TV shows. So the fans are checking in. I'm prepared for the conversation. I think Walter is always ready, and when you stay ready, you ain't got to get ready, so it should be a great hour with the great writer, Walter Mosley, on Tavis Smiley.
You're listening to Tavis Smiley. Ranked number 45 on the Heavy 100 list of the 100 most important radio talk show hosts in America.
Hey y'all, Mona Swain here from Target's new YouTube series, My Cart is Full, where we feature Black founders and creators highlighting their connection to our community. As an actor and content creator, I love using my voice to inspire young Black women who look like me. When it comes to feeding my shine, seeing myself reflected in Black-owned and founded products at Target brings me joy. Together, we are Black Beyond Measure. Learn more at target.com/Black Beyond Measure.
Cookie wants to be a professional wrestler.
I'm Cookie Serratos and I'm 11 years old.
She also wants to win all the medals. That's why Cookie and her family make every day count, squeezing out her best with Go-Go Squeeze.
Okay, Cookie, let's break for a Go-Go Squeeze.
Go-Go Squeeze Fruit on the Go pouches are a nutritious snack made from 100% fruit with no sugar added.
Go, Cookie!
Because when you nurture your kids, you squeeze out the best in them. Squeeze out the best with Go-Go Squeeze. Not a low-calorie food. Products range from 11 to 13 grams of sugar and 60 to 70 calories per serving.
We asked seniors how to prevent Medicare scams.
My best advice, if you get a phone call, do not talk to the person. These people are well-trained. Don't talk to them.
They don't know me. They're just trying to scam me.
Don't be fooled. Hang up. Just hang up.
Never give out your Medicare number.
They're going to get your number to put in a false claim.
If I get a call from someone, I don't pick up the phone. And should I pick up the phone and they ask for information, then I hang up.
How do you detect Medicare fraud?
Just like I check my credit card statements, I check my Medicare statements monthly.
Scammers can get a hold of your number, order medical devices through your account, and you're not even going to know about it if you don't look at your statement.
Check your statement every month.
If you get your statement and you see something that you know you did not have done, you report it.
Call your senior Medicare Patrol.
To report Medicare fraud, call the Senior Medicare Patrol at 855-613-7080.
I spray and scrub, but the soap scum in my bathtub is still there.
I spray and scrub, but the burnt sauce on my stovetop sticks around.
Sprays can leave grime behind, but new Mr. Clean Ultra Foamy Magic Eraser combines the scrubbing power of an eraser with the cleaning power of Dawn to melt away tough messes on contact.
Just wet, squeeze, and erase.
Stop spraying, start erasing, and clean with more magic than ever with new Ultra Foamy Magic Eraser.
Mr. Clean, Mr. Clean.
Hi, this is Quentin. A little thing I love about Chick-fil-A chicken strips are how satisfying they are. The chicken strips are amazing. They're always filling, crispy, tender, and juicy. Definitely one of my favorite things on the menu. Especially when you add in that Chick-fil-A sauce. Always the perfect combination. And then personally, you know me, I'm getting a 4 count. I want as much chicken as possible. I'm that guy. Whenever I get them, whether it be lunch or for dinner, in my household, it's always a winner.
Order the chicken strips on the Chick-fil-A app today. Real customer paid for their testimonial.
Let's get back to more of Tavis Smiley right now.
Write your truth and believe in it. And if your mother doesn't like it, too bad. The novel is creating a whole new mode of understanding the world. Over the last 30 years of being a novelist, I've learned how that's worked, and I've made a commitment to it. And I would love to talk to you about that commitment. I'm going to talk to you about how to choose the right words, structure, story, characters to create the novel that's in you. The black male heroes are the major characters in my novels because there have been very few novels written about black male heroes. If you want to be in the history of the culture, then you have to exist in the fiction. If you don't exist in the literature, your people don't exist. I wake up, write 3 hours, 1,000 words. Next day, the first thing I do is reread that 1,000 words I wrote yesterday. And then I write my next 1,000 words. And that goes on and on until I get to the end of the novel. If you write every day, the next day, ideas have bubbled up from someplace that you had no idea were there. One of the great things about starting writing, for me at the age of 34, was that I was already a failure in life. In failing, you can find out the right way of doing things. A lot of you will be intimidated to start writing. Throw all that fear out the window, it doesn't matter, because it doesn't. The only thing I need you to leave this class with is the confidence that you can write a novel. You will write that novel. I couldn't ask for anything more.
Some SOT, we call that sound on tape, SOT of Walter Mosley in his well-received and highly regarded master class on masterclass.com. So if that titillated you, that's where you find it, masterclass.com. Walter did an amazing job, and it's arresting to hear him and to watch him just wax poetic on what he does better than most as a novelist. We are discussing in this hour, among other things, the 16th installment. We ain't got there yet, but I'm working my way toward it. The 16th installment, believe it or not, of his celebrated series, Easy Rawlins. This one's called Farewell, Amethystine. We'll talk more about the text, about the novel as we move into this hour. But that clip, Walter, puts 3 or 4 things on my docket I want to ask you about right quick. Before we move forward. First of all, listening to that, talk to me, just broadly speaking, about what you have learned over the years about commitment to task. Whether one is a novelist or a talk show host or anything else in the world, just talk to me about what you've learned about being committed to your task, to your vocation, your avocation, not your job, but your calling, the reason why you were put here.
Yeah, it's so interesting because commitment can come from so many different places.
Mm-hmm.
For me, as far as writing, commitment is about love. I love writing, love it. I just love doing it. And no matter what else is going on in my life, if I'm writing, I'm happy. I'm happy right then. And so that's the thing. There are other kind of commitments, and they're similar in how hard you have to work at it. Like having children, for instance. You have a child. You have that child every day. It's not like you're going to take a day off. Even when you're not with that child, you have that child. So, well, how is he doing? How is she doing? Where are they? Maybe I should call. All of that continual stuff. And also there's, the political commitments that we have. That how is our world working? Are we making our world a better world, or are we not? Are we not, meeting up to our responsibilities, which equal those commitments? And so, but all of those things, in the end, are the same. You have to do it every day. You have to work at it every day.
Yeah. I was completely arrested, and I mean that sincerely, Walter, when you made the point, which I had never quite wrestled with in the way that I did after I heard you say what you said. And I'm speaking specifically of that comment that to exist in the culture, you have to exist in the fiction. Yeah. To be present, to exist, to be noted in the culture, you have to exist in the fiction. That thing, I mean, that floored me. I had never, ever thought about it in that way. In part, my own bias, as you and I have known each other for years. The writing that I've done, the books I've written are all in the nonfiction world. I have great respect for fiction writers, always have. More respect, frankly, for fiction writers than nonfiction from my own vantage point. Because at least when I sit to write a book, if my subject is king, I research king and I write my book. Whatever I'm working on, I research and write it. You guys in the fiction world have to create stuff out of the ether. You're creating stuff out of nowhere and making it, so titillating that I can't stop turning pages. But you've done that. You created something, in your case, something brilliant out of nothing. But I never really thought about it in that way, to exist in the culture, not the nonfiction, but you have to exist in the fiction. Talk about that part, as they say.
I think that nonfiction is very important. History is very important, and I was mainly thinking about history. Do Black people have anything to do with America? That was a time that I remember, because I'm too old, that people didn't think that Black people had anything to do with American history. They just didn't know it. But then as you start, as people start telling the stories, writing is, not just books, it's songs, it's movies. When Roots came out, people went, what? What's that all about? When you talk about our adventures in the Army, and you can talk about it as in a non-fictional way, like a non-fictional subject. But the story you tell, that's where fiction becomes. You start to create characters. You start to have to change the stories. You make heroes like I do, Easy Rawlins. People are reading about Easy Rawlins, and they're learning all this stuff from a Black man and a Black point of view in an America that feels mostly Black, even. And I think that's once you start doing that, you start opening doors. And that's what's most important. Also, people only read history, and I'm talking about history right now, and politics, about things that they're already interested in, that they already believe in. But if you write a a novel. If you used to write a novel about somebody got killed on some plantation north of Los Angeles, and and you want to talk about Chicanos working on picking strawberries or whatever. Mostly people who are interested in that are going to read it. But if all of a sudden the guy who owns the plantation is murdered, some white guy, and now you have a Chicano detective coming up from East LA to find out who committed the murder, then you open it to everybody. Yeah. Everybody wants to read that story because people are interested in the mystery itself. Yeah.
I was in a conversation the other day with somebody, and what I'm about to say is subjective, but not really. It's subjective, but not really. But the conversation, Walter, was about what it must feel like to be the best in the world at any given time at a particular thing. To be the absolute best in the world at a particular thing at any given time. Case in point, Tiger Woods. There was a point where without any equivocation whatsoever, Tiger Woods was the absolute best golfer in the world. There was a time when Michael Jordan was the absolute best, the best basketball player in the world. I raise that, and this is not brownie points. I mean this sincerely. You have, over the course of these 16 Easy Rawlins mysteries, and say nothing of the rest of your work, but in this regard, you have, I think, made yourself, through your brilliance, the best writer in the world advancing black male heroes. I mean, that's just my assessment. There is no comparison to Walter Mosley and what he has done with this series when it comes to writing, advancing the notion of black male heroes and their place in the culture, their place in the world, their place in the fiction. How do you regard, at point 16, what you've been able to accomplish, Walter, with making us wrestle with, making us read, making us acknowledge, making us accept, making us fall in love with a black male hero?
There's so many things, as when somebody said that they're the best in the world, I say, yeah, is that what your girlfriend tells you? Well, that's good. But the thing is that it's so extraordinary. When I start off this new novel, Farewell, Amethystine, it starts off, there's a detective named Whisper who Easy thinks is the best detective in the world. And Easy's oldest and maybe best friend, Mouse, who's also, a sociopath. Mm-hmm. And so Mouse, the sociopath, and Whisper, the best detectives in the world, and happening to be a black man, they're discussing why UCLA wants to fire Angela Davis. The UC system wants to fire Angela Davis because, they say she's a communist. And to be able to have these two men, who are extraordinary men in their own right, talking about Angela and what's going on in the world, it allows you to think in a different way. Even if you already think like this, even if you've already had these conversations, reading it in this book makes you understand, say, hey, this is something that we do. Mm. This is something that you might be saying this is something that they do. But whatever it is, it makes me so happy to be able to talk about these things. So these guys, not necessarily good guys in many ways, are heroes because they represent us, because they bring us forward in the world. And I just and I think that a lot of people are doing it, and I'm really happy. I'm really happy just to be a part of that, that system of writing.
It is. I've known Walter for years, and I knew that he would do what he just did, and that is his humility won't allow him to lean into what I was getting at. But I'll just say it again. I celebrate, as I said at the top of the show, I celebrate every conversation public with Walter Mosley, because it is not lost on me that I'm in dialogue with that man, that guy, that dude, that has done more than anybody else to advance black male heroes in his writing And that to me is a big deal. As I said, it's a grand contribution, and I will say it, no matter how uncomfortable it might make my friend Walter Mosley, it needs to be said, and that's why I always revel in these moments, with him. I mentioned moments ago, I'm working my way now specifically into the new book, but I read a comment from one of our listeners a little bit ago, Walter, where he said that he had heard that Walter, he didn't say Walter, he said Mosley and Spielberg. You know, you big, you got just your last names. He heard that Mosley and Spielberg were in talks about a TV series. Do you care to confirm or deny that, sir?
Well, it's kind of true, though I'm not sure. I'm not sure. Really, honestly, if you said that to Steven Spielberg, I'm not even sure he would know that he was doing it. He has a company named Amblin, and Amblin wants to do an Easy Rawlins television series.
Okay.
And a friend of mine, another writer, Jerome Hairston, and I, have come up with a couple of ways to look at doing an Easy Rawlins series. And Amblin is trying its best, to get that done. So we're there. We're trying to get it done, and we're trying to get it done with Spielberg's company. So in a way, you could say it's me and Spielberg, but like I say, I don't even know if he knows he's doing it.
At the end of the day, it doesn't really matter if you and Amblin.
Exactly. Yeah.
If you and Amblin are working out this deal, I can guarantee you this: once it's on the air and becomes a hit, he will know about it. I can guarantee you that, Walter.
Yeah.
Yeah. It'll be so. I got about a minute and a half here. We can continue when we come forward. But how does one approach allowing or the engagement with his character, his beloved character, coming off the page and on the screen in a series? That's not easy stuff to navigate.
It's not, and you have to, you have to realize that you're throwing the dice whenever you do that.
That's right.
Because, maybe it's going to be good, maybe it's not going to be good. You just don't know. I think one of the great writers of mystery fiction, crime fiction was James M. Cain. And he wrote the Postman Always Rings Twice. And somebody once came up to him and said, well, what do you think about what Hollywood has done to your books? And he said, well, my books are here on the shelf. Hollywood hasn't touched them. They did what they did, and I've done what I've done. So it's okay.
No, I hear you. The difference here is that Walter Mosley is at the epicenter of whatever Hollywood is going to do to his character. At least, he's involved, and that's a good thing. We got more time, thankfully, with Walter Mosley. When we come forward, we'll get right into this 16th installment of the Easy Rawlins Mystery Series. Honored to have him right now on Tavis Smiley.
Seeking the truth, speaking the truth. This is the Tavis Smiley Show.
Paid for by government.com. Did you know? The United States Mint has issued a new Morgan silver dollar coin in proof condition for the first time. Not only that, they are also minted in 99.9% pure silver for the first time ever in history. Coin experts are calling this an amazing opportunity for anyone that knows the enduring popularity of Morgans. But you must hurry. Only 400,000 of these legal tender silver dollars were issued. These first ever Morgan silver dollars are brand new with stunning mirror-like finish, minted by the iconic San Francisco Mint. Call now and you're guaranteed a new first ever 99.9% pure silver proof Morgan dollar. To learn more, call 1-800-973-9717. If you order now, you will receive a free coin collector bonus pack, a $25 value, free with every order. Call 1-800-973-9717 now to secure your new Morgan silver dollars before they are gone. That's 1-800-973-9717.
I'm Mike Moore. Here's the latest from the Black Information Network. Former D.C. Mayor Vincent Gray is thanking George Washington University for awarding him an honorary doctorate in public service. Gray posted a picture of himself on stage in a wheelchair being honored by the university on social media. Gray studied psychology at the university and graduated in 1964. He was the first African American to be admitted to the GW fraternity system. Dozens of tornadoes could be possible throughout the day today and into tonight, particularly across Iowa and into northwest Illinois and southwest Wisconsin. It's part of a severe weather outbreak forecast across the plains and Midwest, bringing the risk of dangerous thunderstorms from northern Missouri into Wisconsin. And that's the latest. I'm Mike Moore from your 24/7 news source, the Black Information Network and VINnews.com.
Hi, I'm Kyle at Blindster.com. If you're like many people, you may think custom blinds is a job for expensive professionals. Well, at Blindster, if you have a tape measure and a screwdriver, you can install our custom blinds and save big. Plus, we guarantee they'll fit. Blindster.com.
Is this the This is the KBLA Sports Minute with Ray Richardson.
Lakers fans may not like what they're about to hear, but I need to warn you about something. There are NBA sources everywhere who believe former Clippers guard J.J. Redick is emerging as the frontrunner for the Lakers head coaching vacancy. J.J. Redick, the guy you occasionally see on ESPN working as an NBA analyst. Redick has never coached in high school, college, or the pros. He got into broadcasting after retiring in 2021. So how is Redick a candidate for one of the most prestigious jobs in sports? 2 months ago, Redick started hosting a podcast with LeBron James called Mind the Game. It's a chat where Redick and LeBron talk about the X's and O's of basketball. This podcast and Redick's association with LeBron is the only reason Redick's name is connected to the Lakers coaching search. Stay tuned on this situation. No debates, no speculation, just the info you need. That's your KBLA Sports Minute. I'm Ray Richardson. More news, opinions, and conversation when we come forward on KBLA Talk 1580.
Environmental justice is racial justice.
Environmental justice is social justice.
This is KBLA Talk 1580.
Hi, I'm Kyle at Blindster.com, and I sell custom blinds designed for do-it-yourselfers. Unlike stock blinds offered at big box retailers, Blindster blinds are custom made for your windows and shipping is free. Don't hire an expensive pro, do it yourself and save big at Blindster.com.
My friends swim no matter the season, but my moderate to severe plaque psoriasis can sometimes take me out of the moment. Now, thanks to Skyrizi and clear skin, count me in. With Skyrizi, Risankizumab Riza, a prescription-only 150 milligram injection for adults who are candidates for systemic or phototherapy. 3 out of 4 people achieve 90% clear skin at 4 months.
Don't use if allergic to Skyrizi. Serious allergic reactions and an increased risk of infections or a lower ability to fight them may occur. Before treatment, your doctor should check for infection and tuberculosis. Tell your doctor if you have an infection or symptoms such as fever, sweats, chills, muscle aches, or cough, or if you plan to or recently received a vaccine.
Thanks to Skyrizi, there's nothing on my skin, and that means everything. Ask your doctor today about Skyrizi, the #1 dermatologist-prescribed biologic in psoriasis, and visit skyrizi.com or call 1-866-SKYRIZI to learn more.
The possibility of lung cancer can be pretty scary, especially if you're one of approximately 8 million current or former smokers at high risk. That's why SaveByTheScan.org wants you to know that now there's a breakthrough low-dose CT scan that can detect lung cancer early, and it only takes 60 seconds. You stop smoking, now start screening. For an easy quiz to see if you're eligible, visit SaveByTheScan.org. It could save your life. SaveByTheScan.org is brought to you by the American Lung Association's Lung Force Initiative and the Ad Council.
We've got a lot to talk about.
Race, culture wars, political turf battles, criminal justice and injustice, the courts. These are the conversations you won't hear elsewhere. My guests are leading journalists, celebrities, and sports figures, elected leaders, and influencers. They aren't afraid to get into it and say the quiet part out loud. With Ariva Martin in real time, your commute just became the most engaging part of your day. Tune in weekdays from 4 p.m. to 6 p.m. or find us on YouTube. Ariva Martin in real time, when you want it straight, no chaser.
Unapologetically progressive. KBLA Talk 1580. We've got your black.
Hi, I'm Henry Winkler. My eyes are very important to me. My eyes connect me with everything I love. I loved my late father-in-law dearly. He always lit up a room, but his vision dimmed with age. He had age-related macular degeneration, or AMD. And since partnering with Apellis, I've learned there's an advanced form of dry AMD called geographic atrophy, or GA. His struggle with vision loss made me want to help others know about GA's warning signs. For some, colors appear dull or washed out. For others, hazy or blurred vision make it hard to see details, like fine print on price tags. Many have trouble seeing in the dark, making driving at night difficult. GA gets worse over time and cannot be reversed. If you think you have GA, don't wait. Treatments are available. Ask a retina specialist about FDA-approved treatments for GA and go to GAWon'tWait.com.
He's rooting for everybody black. Everybody black. More of Tavis Smiley coming your way right now.
Walter Mosley, I said earlier in this conversation that when I started wrestling with the fact that this was number 16 in the Easy Rawlins Mystery Series, it arrested me. I had to sit back and just rethink that. And my question is whether it feels like 16 for you.
Well, I've published now just about maybe a bit more than 60 books. And so it's not surprising that it's 16 because, there's so many other books. And the thing is that for me, it's always different because Easy keeps getting older. Like I said, the newest book, Farewell, Amethystine, is in 1970. The first book, Gone Fishing, was 1939, and then the next one was 1948. And so I'm looking at such different periods of time, and Easy is such a different character in all these times that it just everything feels new to me.
Yeah. At the top of the show, I try to give a sense of what the book is about without giving too much away. That's always the tricky part talking to novelists. That you don't want to you want to say just enough to interest the listener or the viewer, but not say so much to give the story away. So this is the part of the conversation where I yield to you, Walter Mosley, to take us inside the book to the extent you want to.
I don't usually worry about something like that. I was asked recently by Reader's Digest to tell them, a book that I thought was important for people to read. And I said, 100 Years of Solitude by Gabriel Garcia Marquez. And you could tell somebody the whole story of that book, but they still have to read it because it's his writing that makes it extraordinary. It's his ability to understand humanity through language, which makes it extraordinary. And there's no way to tell that. This is it's an interesting kind of mystery. What you have is there's this young black woman who had been married to this white guy who she divorced, but he's now missing, and she wants to find him. And so she hires Easy to go do that. She doesn't really hire him. Her Jackson Blue's wife says, Easy, you need to help this woman out. Now Easy helps her out because he's really interested in it, and it's the first time I've really been able to talk about Easy and love. And so he's meeting her, but he's also remembering when he was very, very young in Fifth Ward, Houston, Texas. And so the concepts of love kind of go back and forth, between the decades. At the same time, the one person that he trusts at the LAPD is in trouble, and they're trying to get him fired, maybe even sent to prison. So he's on the run, and he's married to a completely criminal woman. I mean, and so Easy doesn't see too much of him, but he sees a lot of the woman who he's afraid of. She's so deadly. And so, and what I do is I try to blend those two storylines together, looking for the missing husband, trying to help his friend out. So because if he helps his friend out, then his friend can help him. It's doing both of those things at the same time. And it's so it's a double mystery, which I really like doing, because if you're just writing about one thing, it becomes a little repetitive when you're writing about it. So I like to give my character a lot of challenge, and Easy has it in this.
When you said a moment ago that this is the first time, again, we're talking about 16 books now in this Easy Rawlins Mystery Series, and you said that this is the first time you've had a chance to really wrestle or to put on paper a storyline that connects Easy and love. When you say it's the first time you've had a chance to do that, I mean, you write the books. You had 16 books. So I think I know what you mean, but why did you finally get to that subject in this 16th iteration?
Well, Easy's had a lot of relationships, but they've always failed because of Easy's character. Because, he's that guy, born in 1920, in the Deep South. Black man born in 1920 in the Deep South, he keeps everything a secret.
Mm-hmm.
They said, "What did you eat last night?" He said, "Well, I had some food." And why you say that, man? Why don't you tell me that you had the pot roast? I mean, why is everything a secret? He said, "Man, because they could take this shit away from you. You got to watch it." And so but this is the first time that he's met a woman, and the woman is Amethystine, who he can actually talk to.
Mm.
A little bit because he's gotten older, a little bit because she's a little bit bent, and it kind of means something. And so that's it.
Mm. I'm only pausing because I am processing what you said earlier about the time frame that you have had to develop this character and to wrestle with different parts of who he is over the course of the journey, and that this one allows you to wrestle with something you haven't had a chance to wrestle with before. I guess that makes it interesting as you write about a character to sort of keep developing them. Since you referenced it a couple times about Easy getting older, what's been how do I want to ask this? What's been the joy and what's been the challenge of writing about a character that we all know and love, but we're watching this character age?
Well, when Easy getting older, but a working class, a black man coming out of poverty from the Deep South, he's always struggling against his age.
Mm-hmm.
Because there's no retirement, there's no you're going to be taken care of. There's very little medical care. There's hardly anything that this man has that he can rely on. And so Easy is getting older, but he still has to be willing to get out there and compete with the young men, because that he's always going to be there. And that's it's just really fun, to see what he's learned, who he is, what young men, how young, especially black men, are going to be treating him, how he's going to respond to that. How women respond to him, because that's a whole different level of stuff. It's just fun, and we all experience it. One of the great things, about being, which should be one of the great things about being a black person in America today, is that everybody else is now going through the stuff that we've always gone through.
Oh yeah.
Like it used to be, so-called white people could go to, the doctor, and the doctor take care of them. Now the doctor looks at his watch and said, "Well, you got 7 minutes on your insurance.
Mm-hmm.
So tell me what's happening, and you better tell me all, because otherwise you might go home and die."
Yeah.
And they're like, "What?
Yeah.
What?
Yeah.
And he said, "Well, yeah, and those people, including, the MAGA people, should be talking to us. Because, Trump's not going to help them.
Yeah.
Who's going to help them is the people who've been going through this for centuries."
That's right. Yeah.
And so, that's so it's kind of wonderful, Easy, especially 1970, where he's still deeply into this stuff,
Yeah.
and when people come to him, you have to help each other out.
Yeah. I'm listening to you talk, Walter, and I'm kind of laughing inside. I was with our friend Cornell West the other day, and as you described what you just laid out about what the nation has experienced, I thought about the way that Dr. West framed this the other day. He said, "Brother Tavis, we are witnessing and experiencing the niggerization of America. America has been niggerized." And his point simply was what Walter just said, that everybody now understands what it means to be niggerized. Everybody understands now what it means to be disrespected, disallowed, disavowed, all those disses that I could just run a list of. People now in this country understand the journey that we've been on, not fully, but they're getting a taste of it. And that's the way Dr. West framed it. And then he asked that penultimate question, as only he could. What can a blues nation learn from a blues people? I've been thinking about that. What can a nation with the blues learn from a blues people? More of our conversation with Walter Mosley when we come forward on Tavis Smiley.
Hope, agency, dignity. This is Tavis Smiley.
Can you dig it? Come on! What is dedication?
My biggest fear in the middle of my addiction was that my kids wouldn't have a father. And I started thinking, you know what? This isn't my story. I definitely had to become a better man to be a better father. It's important to me that my kids are empowered and truly believe that if they can think it, they can do it.
That's dedication. Visit fatherhood.gov to hear more. Brought to you by the U.S. Department of Health and Human Services and the Ad Council.
Joey from Vermont, a farmer trying to get through the winter. Adriana from South Carolina, a single mother living paycheck to paycheck. Liam from Ohio, an injured father struggling to provide for his family. Hi, I'm Shanola Hampton, and I support the Feeding America network of food banks because they help provide over 6 billion meals to people in need each year. Learn more at feedingamerica.org.
I feel occasional burning and stabbing in my hands as I age.
I sometimes feel numbness and tingling in my feet as I get older.
It's starting to get in the way of doing what I love.
At Nervive, we hear you, and we can help. Nervive's clinically studied dose of alpha-lipoic acid reduces occasional nerve discomfort in as little as 7 days with continued daily use.
Now that I know, I'm taking control.
Try Nervive Nerve Relief and say yes to healthy nerves.
These statements have not been evaluated by the Food and Drug Administration. This product is not intended to diagnose, treat, cure, or prevent any disease.
Sometimes I struggle to get to sleep. My body stopped for the day, but my mind is still running. So I take ZQuil.
ZQuil, the world's #1 sleep aid brand, has a range of non-habit-forming products to fit you and your family's needs. Invest in a great night's sleep for the best you tomorrow.
I'm awake and ready to take on anything.
Better days start with ZQuil nights. Explore our products at ZQuil.com. Use as directed. Keep out of reach of children.
KBLA Talk 1580 is the fastest growing talk radio station in Southern California. Home to 50,000 watts and an audience reach of 12 million listeners. KBLA Talk 1580 is a pioneer for black audio content, including our groundbreaking $2 million climate justice campaign and the most loyal, influential audience. According to an independent research study by the polling firm Amethystine, for the second consecutive year, KBLA Talk 1580 is the most trustworthy, reliable, and credible news source for black audiences and beyond in Southern California. Let KBLA Talk 1580 power your advertising dollars. Our omni-channel custom marketing solutions are specifically tailored to connect with your ideal target audience. We leverage audio, podcasts, streaming, digital, social media, and local activations to get your message out to the black community. Get in touch with our advertising team today at advertising@KBLA1580.com. That's advertising at KBLA1580.com. KBLA 1580. We've got you black. More honesty than you can handle.
More empowerment than you can imagine.
You're tuned in to Tavis Smiley.
Tavis Smiley and the amazing writer, novelist, Walter Mosley, out with a new Easy Rawlins mystery series. This one's called Farewell, Amethystine, and we're honored to be in dialogue with Walter in this hour. Walter, I said earlier in this conversation that you have dedicated yourself. We were talking earlier about commitment. You've committed yourself to a craft that one could argue. I mean, you can push back on me. One could argue that people don't read the way they used to. I'm thinking. I was on a plane the other day, and I was just sitting there thinking about our conversation coming up, and I'm looking around, and it occurred to me. I mean, I see this all the time, as do you. But it used to be you get on a plane and you're on a long plane flight and everybody pulls out a book. And I was looking around the other day, just doing my own sort of informal, unscientific survey, and I saw one person in my cabin who was reading a book. Everybody else put out their computer, they put out their laptop, they were working, they were watching a movie or something on something, some film, something. But one person in the whole cabin was actually reading a book. And that's just one example I could offer. Again, I could be wrong about this, but how does one do what you do every day in a world where people appear to be less interested in reading? And we ain't even talking about banning books, Walter Mosley.
Well, banning books sometimes helps them. So I don't know how worried I am about that. But I mean, I don't like it, but I don't know how worried I am about it.
Yeah.
The thing is that I don't know because we print 10 times more books today than they did like around or just before I started getting published.
Right.
I mean, there's so many different titles that are being printed, and of course you can read a book as a book in paperback. You can read it on your phone. You can read it on your iPad. You can read it on your computer. You can listen to it. Some great actor acting it out, and listen to it on your commute. I don't know how many books are being bought and consumed. I don't, and maybe I should know that the answer to that question, but I don't. I do think that people don't take. That it's much more important if you've made a movie than if you've done a book. But that's what people think. I'm not sure if they're right about that, but yeah, I'm okay with it because books last a long time and they're cheaper than almost anything else anybody wants to do. So you can say all right, I'm not going to worry about it because those people who read my book, that they're going to make a big difference.
It's a fair point. Of all the ways to be entertained now, books still are the least expensive. And you get a lot of good stuff out of it. Our remaining moments with Walter Mosley when we come forward on Tavis Smiley.
What's your quarrel with the world? You're listening to Tavis Smiley.
If you're like me, 60 and retired, making ends meet, especially here at the supermarket and drugstore, is tough. I'm so blessed to have found benefitscheckup.org. It's a free and confidential website from the National Council on Aging that connected me to $1,200 a year in programs that help pay for food, medicine, utilities, and more. Maybe it can help you. benefitscheckup.org.
My daughter was diagnosed with a rare malignant rhabdoid tumor on the spine. They sent her straight to St. Jude. My hope was gone. But when you get there, everyone's like, hey, we're not going to give up. And when you see other people not giving up on your child, that makes all the difference in the world. When I found out I didn't have to pay, I was just grateful. They saved my baby's life.
Finding cures, saving children. Learn more at stjude.org.
KBLA Talk 1580. We've got a lot to talk about.
KBLA Talk 1580, connecting you with services and solutions. Stay Housed LA has the resources you need to know your rights and the legal support to back them up. The COVID-19 pandemic has cost people their jobs and livelihoods. This has left an estimated 1/3 of households not being able to make rent and facing losing their homes. This is a fear no one in our community should have to face. You have rights, though, and Stay Housed LA is here to help. Stay Housed LA is a partnership between the County of Los Angeles, the City of Los Angeles, and local community and legal service providers. Together, they provide tenants with the information and support needed to exercise their rights so they can remain safely in their homes. Find out more about your rights by participating in a virtual tenant workshop. Get the legal assistance you need. Find additional resources in Los Angeles County and the City of Los Angeles. Stay connected to Stay Housed LA County for updates. This and more at stayhousedla.org. Stay connected to Stay Housed LA for updates. This and more at stayhousedla.org. That's stayhousedla.org. Or call their hotline at 213-694-0040. We've got your black with a community call to action from KBLA Talk 1580.
Eggs are a staple in our diets, and there's only one egg with more delicious farm-fresh taste plus superior nutrition. Eggland's Best. With more vitamins, including 6 times more vitamin D and 10 times more vitamin E, plus 25% less saturated fat than ordinary eggs. Available in so many delicious varieties: classic, cage-free, and organic. Eggland's Best. Better taste, better nutrition, better eggs.
Helping to make you the most knowledgeable person in your circle of friends. This is Tavis Smiley.
Walter, I'm just tapping in to some of the messages coming in from your friends and fans, mostly fans, I think, all around the globe. Somebody says, "Greetings, Tavis. I just tuned in Louisiana, and I literally have Walter Mosley's The Awkward Black Man short stories with me right now, reading it." So your impact, Walter, is being felt in real time and over time. I didn't. This doesn't surprise me, but I hadn't really thought about this until this conversation. Again, I've been fortunate to have many with you, but your stuff has been now translated into over 25 different languages.
Yeah, no, I'm in a lot of places. It's a wonderful experience. You know, yeah. I'm really happy.
Now, I raised that on because I only got about 3 minutes left here, 2.5, 3 minutes left.
Mm-hmm.
I raised that because I want to just bring this thing full circle again, because I talked earlier in this conversation about the impact you have had in terms of redefining American literature, in terms of deepening our understanding and appreciation of Black life in this country. I used the phrase earlier, grand legacy. It really is. But when you think about that, and then think about the images of Black men and Black people around the globe, when people think of us when they see us, and then you think about your writings and the way you have portrayed us, and that's been translated into over 25 different languages, that really is a pretty bold statement about what you've been able to accomplish in this career thus far. And you ain't done yet, Walter Mosley.
I hope not. Yeah, and I am having a really good time doing it. I think the thing that I'm happiest about is helping us, Black people in America, redefine themselves through language and characters that we already know. But when you slow down enough to read that book, to read it, to see what people are saying and what they're thinking and where they're coming from, it really helps to bolster and also to redefine who you are in this world and what you're doing.
Yeah. Well, once again, I celebrate you and all that you have done and continue to do. Your impact is undeniable. Your imprint is undeniable, and we are all the better for it. The latest one from
I feel the same about you, Tavis. I just want to say it because this is your show, so I haven't been asking the question, but I do think that you do great things for us in general, and I really appreciate it. I appreciate that you're there and that you're working.
No, that means a lot coming from you, man. It means a whole lot coming from Walter Mosley. His latest is called Farewell, Amethystine. It's an Easy Rawlins mystery, number 16 in the Easy series. Walter's winning all kind of awards. I congratulate him on being recognized as the Book Industry Study Group honoree. So the honors keep coming because the work continues, and we, as I said earlier, are all the better for the writings of one Walter Mosley. Walter, congrats. All the best to you, my friend. I'll talk to you soon, I hope.
We'll talk soon.
Stay strong. More of Tavis Smiley when we come forward.
KBLA 1580 Santa Monica.
I'm Mike Moore. Here's the latest from the Black Information Network. Former D.C. Mayor Vincent Gray is thanking George Washington University for awarding him an honorary doctorate in public service. Gray posted a picture of himself on stage in a wheelchair being honored by the university on social media. Gray studied psychology at the university and graduated in 1964. He was the first African American to be admitted to the GW fraternity system. Dozens of tornadoes could be possible throughout the day today and into tonight, particularly